What is going on, guys? My name's Long Sensation, and today we've got for you guys is some more Call of Duty Black Ops 3 news and information. Now in today's video we're going to be covering one of the more frequently asked questions over on my Twitter, and that is, how can I get Call of Duty Black Ops 3 early? Now this method does work for Black Ops 3, it also works for every other games. I'm going to be giving you guys 6 different ways. I'll be giving them you guys 5 in which will be in my top 5, and one that I wouldn't really recommend, and I'll get into that in just a second. But first of all, there is a few things that I do need to clear up before we get into today's video. So first of all, it is not illegal to purchase games early. It is in fact illegal for the actual shop or the shop owners or the distributors or whatever you want to call them. It's illegal for them to sell the game early. However, you as a customer, it's not illegal for you to purchase the game early. As well as this, if you do manage to get your hands on a game early, you cannot upload any footage or any images or really any information to the internet. Doing this will result in Activision's law team getting in contact with you, and you can actually face some penalties which you definitely would not want to get on your hands. As well as this, before I get into the methods, I do need to say that with this method, of course, you're buying the game early. You will not be buying it at the standard price. It will be sometimes twice as dear, possibly even 3 times as dear as the retail price, depending on where you're getting it from and you know, how early you're getting it and stuff like that. But anyway, guys, without further ado, let me get into the top 5 ways. First one is not going to be in my top 5 list. This is going to be Craigslist or other sites where you need to meet people face to face. Now the reason for this is quite simple and quite obvious, is because you don't really want to be meeting people face to face. Sometimes, well, I'm not going to say sometimes, there is quite a lot of dodgy people out there. You could get mugged, you could have a knife pointed at you, you could have a gun pointed at you or anything like that. So if you are going to meet someone off a website such as Craigslist, then I would definitely recommend going with a few different people, you know, quite a few people, so you could handle the situation if anything does get out of control. But definitely wouldn't recommend Craigslist, but if it is your only alternative, then you know, go for it, and like I said, definitely go with a few different people. Now moving in to number 5, this is one that I would recommend. However, you do need to be very careful indeed, and that is going to be websites such as eBay or Gumtree. Now what you need to do when doing this, of course, once again, you're going to be paying double the price, maybe triple the price, is that you need to read the description as carefully as possible. Sometimes I've heard on various different occasions that people have purchased, for example, a Call of Duty title or a game title early, and essentially what they get through the post is just a picture of the game. So the description wasn't lying, it was saying that this is Call of Duty Black Ops 3, for example, but they didn't say it's the disc and stuff like that, and actually they got scammed. So people do get scammed off eBay. What you need to also look out for is the delivery time. Sometimes it'll say you can get the game 5 days early, but that just means purchase the game 5 days early. And as well as this, you need to make sure that they are going to send out the game. The delivery time is going to be before the release. Also make sure it's like first class shipping and stuff like that, so you can get it before the release. Now moving in to number 4, this one's a hit and miss, but it is quite useful if you do know a website that does deliver games early, and that's using websites such as Amazon or other alternative websites such as other different retailers. Now with this being a Friday release, it might be a little bit difficult this year, but essentially websites such as Amazon, they usually do ship their games early. So it comes out on a Friday, they might ship the game on a Wednesday with first class shipping, so you'll get it on the Thursday. And the reason for this is because they don't want the game to be late to their customers, because that will give bad reviews, give them a bad reputation, and sometimes it does come a little bit early. But once again, wouldn't really recommend this one. This is something that could be a last resort, so to speak. But moving on to our next ones, this is where it gets a little bit more interesting, a little bit more risky, but also a lot more rewarding. So the third one is going to be having a friend that works in a store, or a family member or something like that. Now, I do not condone stealing games or anything like that, an illegal activity, should I say. But essentially what you could do is, if a friend says that he's working the same shift or the midnight release of, you know, Black Ops 3, where he will be at the till, for example, you could essentially give him the money and for example, if he's buying the game for himself at midnight, he could just scan the game twice, put the money in the till, and boom, there you go, there's a copy early. So what he would do is he would essentially go into the back, break into the box, and get the game early for you by sneaking it out. Now, this is by far very risky. I do not condone illegal activities, but if it's like a last resort, like a few of these other bad ones, then I would recommend it. I've had some people do it for me before, but it is very risky. You don't really want your friend or family member ruining their job and losing their job. But in at number 2, this is where it gets a little bit better. If you know someone, or if there is a local family-run game store near your location. Now, this is by far the easiest. The reason for that is because with the recession and stuff like that, especially in England, a lot of different stores, a lot of different people are trying to find really fast ways in being able to earn a little bit extra cash. So I've done this for a number of years now. I'm not going to give away the game store location, of course, because I don't want to get them in trouble. But essentially what they do is they have a Facebook page set up. You just go on there, you say, can I get Black Ops 3? And they'll be like, yes. Can I have your number, please? And then a few days before release, when they get it in stock, they'll ring you and say, right, come and pick it up, here you go. And I think I pay usually an extra £20 to get the game early, which is really, really good in my opinion. And that is by far the best kind of way to do this. Now, I do know a lot of different other YouTubers that do this. They go to family-run game stores and video game stores and just say, can we get the game early? I would recommend going into the store in person. Quite a lot of people or game developers sometimes will ring the store and ask if they can get the game early. And the game store owners just simply say no, because for all they know, they could be getting rumbled and kind of grassed up, so to speak, and get in a lot of trouble. So definitely go in person, ask them in person. If they say no, then try and bribe them by saying, I'll give you an extra £20, £30 or $30 or euros. And sometimes they will do it. It might be a little bit of a hit and miss. You might need to go around a few different local areas and stuff like that to get the game. But if you can manage it, it's definitely worthwhile. Also pick a few up extra, because you can actually sell them for a pretty decently high more price. So moving into my last one. Now, this is the one that I'm going to recommend because quite simply, I know these guys, I know who they are, and they supply a lot of YouTubers across the UK. Well, Activision now send the games out to individual YouTubers. However, if you're like me, you're not really involved with Activision that much anymore, or you're just not big enough and stuff like that, then I would recommend this. And that is a Twitter account called @GetGamesEarly. I'll put a link in the description. These guys own a game store. This is the place where I sometimes get my games. And essentially they're now doing kind of a weird kind of a very unique, and I would say it is actually a pretty good idea, but essentially they've got a Twitter account up and running now, and if you go over there and order the game, what you can do is you can buy Black Ops 3 or any other games for £80 plus first day packaging, which will be tracked. It's your responsibility to actually sort that sort of stuff out, but you just give them a £20 deposit, and then a few days before release they'll say, listen, can we have your address and the rest of the payment, and essentially you can get the game shipped to you a couple of days early. Now, like I said, with the family-run game store and all of the other alternative ways to do this, because the game is being released on a Friday, it might be a little bit more difficult to get the game a few more days early. With it being a Tuesday release usually every single year, game stores usually get them in on the Friday to set everything up and stuff like that, etc. But this year, with it being a Friday, they might get the game in on a Tuesday, possibly a Monday, which means that, you know, essentially you might get the game 2 days early at the latest. So, like I said, follow @GetGamesEarly if you're from the UK and you are interested. This is only for the UK people, by the way, guys. £80 plus first day tracked package, so that's so you can get the game within a day when it is shipped. And it is your responsibility to do all that stuff. I believe they're taking £20 deposits now to the end of the month, and then from there on out, it will be so-called not for sale anymore. I believe they've got limited copies and stuff like that. So if you are interested, definitely give them a follow and hit them up over on Twitter. There will be a link down in the description below if you guys want to go and check them out. They said that it will be 2 days maximum that you'll be able to get the game early. So 2 days maximum, and I believe 4 days minimum. So between 2 and 4 days early, you'll be able to receive the game for £80 plus 1 day tracked package, which is around £20 I believe in the UK from the post office. But that is going to be pretty much it. I'll keep you guys updated on Twitter. If you want any more information, then of course leave it in the comment section below and hit me up on Twitter as well. And that is going to be pretty much it for this video, guys. If you did enjoy, please be sure to leave a like. I've been Long Sensation, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.